Episode 2. You assholes. Costanza couldn't take it anymore and said in an outburst, "The loan would have been paid halfway by now if you guys hadn't charged us at a ridiculously high interest rate of 40% per fortnight. You all are sharks in the ocean that prey on their victims." She stared at them fiercely. Why were they called loan sharks in the first place? Pun intended. The collector simply rubbed the inside of his ear with his finger as if he was bored to death. "Hey," he called to one of his men. "Shut her up. She talks too much. My ear is beginning to hurt." "What?" The color left Costanza's face, fear finally setting in. But it was too late. "Mother, my daughter." Mother and daughter both cried and struggled, but the man broke them apart, suppressing Costanza until he successfully gagged her mouth with a cloth. "Now that's better." The collector smirked at Costanza, whose scream was muffled, before turning to Rhea, whose heart leaped out of her chest. Was he going to gag her as well? "Now let me speak to the reasonable one in the family," he said. "Oh, that was unexpected. Your father pledged this house as collateral. Now his payment is overdue. I should collect, right?" He was teasing her, trying to see what her reaction would be, nor did Rhea bother to clear his assumption of her being her uncle's daughter. "Of course you should take the house. A deal is a deal," Rhea replied. She was dealing with a criminal here and had to think like one. "You ingrate," her aunt fired up upon hearing her comment. "I should have known this is how you would reward me, for raising you." "Gag her as well," Mr. Collector ordered without even as much as a glance her aunt's way. "What?" The woman couldn't believe what she just heard. "Hey, don't touch me. Don't you know I'm an elder?" Yet her protest fell on deaf ears. They tied her mouth the same way they did to her daughter. For some strange reason, the scene made Rhea feel good. It was not every day she gets to see her uncle's family in a discomfiting situation.
It was satisfying.
This little punishment was nothing compared to the years they maltreated her. "You know," the collector brought her attention back, "you could solve your family's problem easily."
"What?"
"I could." Her eyes shone with hope. "That is possible?" "How?" She couldn't wait to hear his suggestion. However, Rhea narrowed her gaze at him when he reached out and grabbed her chin in a not-so-tight vice, checking her out. "You're a very beautiful woman, mademoiselle, and our boss Big Joe is in need of a wife. You would make a beautiful bride. What do you say to that?" He sounded hopeful. Rhea couldn't understand how things could turn around that quickly. One moment she was thinking of saving her uncle's family, and the next she was being proposed to. "No," was her answer. Another firm reply. "No, I'm not offering myself nor my body to this Big Joe, or whatever you called him. Now get your hands off me." She shot him a glare that would have vaporized the man on the spot, if that was possible. "You have a temper as well. Spitfire. I'm sure Big Joe would love that." He let her go. "Now how do we get our money?" "My patience has run out." His gaze darkened, hinting of the storm brewing if they didn't provide what he wanted. "Give us some time," Rhea pleaded. "Time?" He chuckled, the mere sound sending shivers down her spine. "That I don't have any more. Please, I'll make sure my uncle provides the money." The man gestured. "I don't see your uncle anywhere. Thought he was your father, by the way." "Well, you thought wrong. He wasn't the first person that thought so anyway." Her uncle's family had a way with their pretense that could even fool a trickster. They assumed one happy household. Rhea continued. "My uncle is away on a trip. He wouldn't abandon his family. She hoped so, else she's toasted." It was not hard to notice the collector had eyes for her. "Fine." The collector gave a sign, and his men straightened up, the fight in them vanishing. The collector turned to her saying, "We'll be gone, but we'll be back." His tone held a dark promise. "Let's go, boys." And just like that, they left the room one after the other until there wasn't a trace of them. But the ruins that lay in their wake remained. Rhea released a breath she didn't know she was holding in. The worst was over. Or so she thought. A young man nonchalantly sang along to the music playing out from his cell phone. He threw a piece of gummy candy into the air and caught it inside his mouth while the anguished howl of a man rang out in the hall. However, he didn't seem to mind. Instead, the sound of his pain excited him. It made his blood throb. They were obviously in some sort of basement that was poorly illuminated while a man was tied to a chair screaming out his lungs as his torturers burnt his skin with cigarettes. An excruciating scream left the man's mouth. He felt like dying, yet they wouldn't let him die. Why would they? He laughed inwardly. This was Lukas he was dealing with, the heartless, ruthless, psychopathic mafia lord of the Luciano clan. A family who conducts themselves as businessmen but in reality are a bunch of killers walking around in expensive suits and dresses. 3 times you can bite me. Lukas continued with his singing amid the inhumane shriek from the tortured soul, a scream even capable of waking the dead from their slumber. However, the man simply swiped at his blonde lock that had fallen across his face. Lukas was breathtakingly handsome. Even a blind man could see that, the same innocuous look that has sent many to their grave. Unlike the rough but attractive features of most males, he was the opposite of that. Lukas could be described as effeminate. He looked as harmless as a dove, and it was those innocent features that had made many people estimate him only to end up with a bullet in their forehead.
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.